Welcome back to the Keys podcast. I'm your host, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily, like the flower. And this is part 2 of the 5-part mini-series based on the 5 pillars that have held up my business for 7+ years. Yeah, we're going to get all up in it in this episode, but if you haven't listened to part 1, go check it out. It is all about what is your why. Why? Like, why are you doing anything? Why are you listening to this podcast? What are you trying to achieve? And what is your foundation to do anything? Starting a new career, changing your mindset. Big decisions require a strong why. So what is your why? And today's episode, part 2 of 5 of this mini series, is all about budgets. I know. We don't want to talk about money right now, especially if you're listening in real time. It is the holiday season, so I understand. But I want to provide solutions, actionable steps, easy digestible ways that we can either change our mindset, change our habits, or simply just feel more at ease when it comes to money, budgets, knowing our numbers, and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. A major key when it comes to budgeting and money is to know your numbers. What is the least you have to make, and what is the max you have the capacity to complete, to achieve, whether it's solo and or with a team or team member? Because knowing your numbers and accepting what and who you can afford now and or later is truly a key element to scaling your business. And just for the sake of time, all of my references will be in regards to my business. As much as I would like to talk about my personal life, I'm going to keep it strictly business. And for those out there either wanting to pivot in their careers or business, this is for you. So before I quit my job, my 9-to-5 of 15 years in 2018, I was taking a leap of faith. My leap of faith took 2 years. How about that? Every day I'd show up. Okay, today's going to be the day. Today's going to be the day. Next thing I knew, 2 years had gone by. But through that process, I knew I had to change my habits. I had to change my ways. And in one of those ways that had to change was my savings and investments. Around that time, I'd say 2016, 2017, people in the office were buzzing about crypto and Roth IRAs and SEP IRAs, like all the things that I had never heard about up until that moment. And I realized all of these people are successful in their own right and based on their own definition because they're showing up, because they're doing the work. What have I done? So I said, I can't get there overnight, but I can eventually get to where I need to be if I start little by little. So I started changing my habits, which meant, all right, I'm spending this much on the weekend. Let me just stop going out for a few weekends. Let me deny myself of these pleasures so I can start saving money. And I did just that. I started putting cash away. I didn't know what I was saving for. I just knew I was tired of being broke at the end of the weekend and having to show up at this job to work to have fun on the weekends, when in actuality, it wasn't even that much fun. So savings and investing are a key element to having a strong relationship with your money and your budgeting, because I don't want budgeting or money to be a negative word. I want us all to build a new relationship with money, regardless of age or where you're at in life. I'm 41 at the time of this recording, but I went on this journey for almost a decade until it all finally clicked. Like, oh, wow, it was me the whole time, getting in my own way, my emotions, prioritizing my feelings over actions. My laziness was tied to my insecurities. Oh, well, I'm broke again. That's just what it is. And when you're self-employed, if the money's up, I'm up. When the money's down, I'm down. And let me tell you, my downs were capital DOWN, down. I wouldn't be able to get off my couch. And when I did, I would just be not present. I just would be miserable thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't even afford this dinner that I'm at, and still had the nerve to go out. Can you believe that? So savings and investing definitely provides a sense of confidence. Even when I've had only $25 in my savings account, there's something about putting money away and seeing it still be there by Monday that felt good. So give it a try. Choose the right bank accounts, automate the payments that go into said accounts, and start small. If you're someone sitting there like, well, $10 a month is nothing, That's the problem. Figure out why you think that's nothing and go from there. When I'm at my lowest, when I'm at my brokest, I realized $10 a month is enough, because this is the start to something bigger. And if I can build the momentum now, it's going to benefit me way more in the future than a year from today starting to save even more. It's going to be so hard to part ways with $100 a month versus if I start with 10, okay, I could do 15 now, 20, 30. I build my way up to 100, and I've already prepared my mind to accept that I'm letting this go, but it's for my benefit. And believe me, having those little bits of savings, or a lot of bit of savings at times, have literally done its job, saved me. I know we think about our future, our retirement. That's something, if you're struggling right now, save yourself today. Future you will thank you for saving yourself today. Because there have been so many times where I just didn't appreciate the money. I wasn't even aware of the money when I did have it. But there was something about going broke again that freed me. That was probably the biggest blessing, because it allowed me to let go of the things that were holding me back. It allowed me to let go of the people that were holding me back. It allowed me to let go of the parts that were holding me back that lived within me, the mindsets, the habits, the disregard, not being aware of what I was doing or why I was doing things. Yes, it takes work. And the investment isn't just money in a bank account. The investment is in you. For the days where I had no money or had just enough money, I realized, okay, how can I be helpful? One of my biggest goals is to be able to support and help my family. Eventually, maybe even retire my parents. But I realized that's a long-term goal. That isn't a goal that can happen overnight unless, I win the lottery or get a really good opportunity, which I'm not closed off to, but I'm also going to be a little bit realistic when it comes to what can I do today? Okay, well, let me go clean up their house. Let me go help them with their groceries. I can spare an extra $50 today. Let me do that. What do they need help? Let me go mow their lawn. So when it comes to savings and investing, just changing our mindset and our definition of what those mean. But when it does come to our future, we'll talk about that later in this episode. But for now, just get to saving and investing. And it doesn't always have to be monetary. How can you help someone else? Volunteer, donate your time. I guarantee it, that will feel so much better than struggling and sitting on a couch all day crying. Okay? But reach out, of course, if you absolutely are struggling and you just don't know how to get out of your situation. I want to help you. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney, but I've been through almost all financial situations, okay? And I've gotten out of them, so I'm still here to talk about it. So I'm here to help. Reach out. Next up, I want to talk about debt. Debt isn't as bad as we all think it is, but it isn't the best either. Sometimes we need to give ourselves a loan to invest in a new business, and then we start in the red and eventually make our way back into the green. But I've also realized that I allowed debt to consume me to the point of not being productive, not doing anything. I associated my worth to how much debt I had, how much income was coming in, or how much wasn't coming in. And I figured, well, as long as I'm in debt, I'm broke. Wrong. Okay? Because you can negotiate, you can renegotiate, you can consolidate, you can pay a little bit more, you can pay the minimum. It's up to you on how you want to get out of that situation, but just always have an exit plan. And I think that's where I struggled the most, is never having an exit plan when it came to debt. Okay, if it takes me 5 years, I accept that. Let's move on. If I have to make an extra $100 or $200 a month to get this paid off on time or sooner, how am I going to do that? What can I sell in my house? Are there any part-time jobs? Any people I can help for a few extra bucks a month? But debt doesn't have to consume you, no matter how bad it is. 6 figures, 1 figure, 3, 5 figures. I know it's scary. I know it's consuming. I know it's overwhelming. But believe me, there are people out there that want to help you. There are options. There is time. Don't let it consume you, but also have an exit plan and have a little bit of a plan to get you out of this situation. If it means reading self-help books, watching videos of people who have done it to stay motivated, listening to this podcast. I'm in the process of paying off a lot of credit card debt that I accumulated in 2023 and 2024, starting from an emergency dental procedure. I had to get an emergency loan. I couldn't afford the almost $10,000 procedure, but I also didn't want to walk around toothless. It'd be different if maybe it was in the back of my mouth, but I'm talking about my front teeth. And I didn't want to touch my savings just yet. Looking back, maybe I should have, but it's okay. I faced my situation. I had to get the loan, and now I'm paying it down. The next year, I decided to get a life coaching certificate to get certified as a life coach. That cost another almost $10,000. So I maxed out 2 credit cards. Again, I didn't want to touch my savings, thinking, oh, this is all going to work out overnight. It didn't, because 2024 hit. I turned 40. I was at a wall again. I had this certification. I had this debt. I hadn't been in debt since my 30s. So to turn 40 and to be back in debt, I was a little depressed. I'm not going to hold you. So once I found a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and I got past my emotions, I started to realize, okay, I have to work, because I kind of stopped working. I said no to clients. I was only working with the teams that were actually producing, but it still wasn't enough to maintain the lifestyle I was leading at the time. And I realized something has to change. I don't know what it is. I prayed to God, please remove the distractions from my life. And all of a sudden, people I had been hanging around with for almost 20 years we were no longer friends. So if that meant my life had to be changed to do a complete 180, so be it. And I accepted those changes. As uncomfortable, as shocking and jarring and sad as those changes were, I knew my life was more important. And I knew that my value and my self-worth, which brings me to my next point, was bigger and more important than debt, than even my savings, than even my income. My value and self-worth is rooted in the loving and kind person that I am, the generous person that I am, the smart person that I am, the fun person that I am, and so much more. Talking myself up and believing it. You got to practice looking hard in the mirror, like E40 said. But what I'm saying is, if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to do it? No one. And as much as we have people that love us and care for us, we're all on our own journeys. No one's going to save us except for ourselves. And as I said earlier, I was in my own way. I was the problem. I am the problem at times. But I knew all of this was connected to my value and self-worth. So I had to redefine what money is to me, my relationship with money. Why do I associate my worth and my value when my bank account has a lot of zeros in it, when it's not in the negative? So I no longer wanted to feel insufficient when my funds said insufficient. I no longer wanted to feel my happiest when I could give out money, buy new clothes, support other people. Because either way, when both of those things happen, I'm still who I am at my core. And I had to remind myself over and over and over again until those tears turned into a smile, until those tears turned into action. So knowing your value and your self-worth is a key part to this pillar. Before I quit my job, the first thing I said was, let me make sure my money is right, and let me make sure I have insurance. Anything beyond that is a bonus. I didn't even care about my phone bill, internet bill. I said, at the bare minimum, how much money do I have to survive if I quit this job today? Because I put in the work prior for 2 years, even though my leap of faith was a little delayed, it wasn't denied. And I had to build up my courage and my self-worth and my value. And even throughout these past 7+ years, it's not been perfect. It hasn't been perfect at all. Like I mentioned, last year, 2024, was one of my toughest years. But that gave me the resilience to persist. That taught me when everything is taken away from you, What are you going to do with this opportunity? Even seeing that as an opportunity to grow instead of shrinking myself, instead of staying depressed. Feel your feels, be sad, go through it, grieve, because you're no longer going to be the same. But at a certain point, you have to embrace who future you is. And that brings me to my final point, is our future. Reduce, eliminate distractions, work out, take care of yourself physically, plus everything I mentioned above and prior. My slogan is care for yourself, care for your wealth. Because when you care for yourself, the wealth part is a mindset. But when the bank account can match that mindset as well, it's even better. So to recap, first, know your numbers. What is the least amount of money you have to make on a monthly basis? And if that means going through your budget line by line, how much do I spend on cable, internet, whatever else, phone bill? Can I get my phone bill reduced? Can I change plans and maybe do 12 months of free internet if I switch companies, 12 months of free mobile if I switch providers. But you have to put in the work to make your numbers work in your favor. And then what is your max goal? If your least amount of money right now is, say, $4,000 a month, what is a fun maximum number you're willing to work towards in the next year or two? Okay, right now I make, let's say, $4,000. My big goal is to make $10,000 a month. How can I do that? All right, let's master this $4,000 first. Let's save some money. Let's reallocate, go back to our savings and investments. Okay, I can invest in this and that. I'm going to put my savings in a high yield savings account, open a brokerage account, buy some stocks and ETFs, all those things. All right, little by little, brick by brick, pebble by pebble. And then we're going to tackle any debt that we might have. We're going to get over that hurdle of this sucks, this is overwhelming, I can't do it, to I can do it, I am doing it, it's done. Okay? And then we're no longer going to attach our self-worth and our value to the dollar sign. It's going to be attached to who we are at our core. And if you don't know who that is, get to know yourself. What hobbies do you like to do? What did you enjoy as a kid? Start doing those things over as an adult. Who said at 41, I can't go outside and play basketball? I loved playing basketball as a kid. Who said I can't do a puzzle? Who said I can't watch cartoons? Nobody. Hashtag free will, okay? And finally, our future selves will thank us. But you have to put in the work. You have to initiate and take action. Automate some things if you have to. Eliminate many distractions if you have to. But above all, take care of yourself. Care for yourself, care for your wealth, okay? I hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to touch on pillar number 3 next week, which is education. Just a little sneak peek into what that conversation is going to be like. But for now, go back and listen to pillar number 1, which is episode 81 to be exact, about what is your why. And then really think about this episode and your numbers and your budget and your money and your relationship with money. And then next week, we'll move on to pillar number 3, which is education, and how all of that can tie into moving into the direction that you want to go to in life. But for now, this has been another episode of the Keys Podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Visit my website, LillianHernandez.com, where all of the information lives for you to book one-on-one sessions with me. If you want to learn how to become a transaction coordinator here in California, please do reach out. I offer coaching and consulting as well. And if you want to just chop it up about the podcast or brainstorm and strategize, feel free to schedule a free discovery call with me. All of that lives on my website. And if you want to stream past episodes of the Keys Podcast, simply visit thekeyspodcast.com. Thank you again for listening. Until the next episode, this is the Keys Podcast. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here.